Hi everyone, I'm Sam Carey from the New Ed Tech Classroom, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up digital interactive notebooks in Google Jamboard. I know that a lot of teachers have been using Google Slides or PowerPoint to set up digital interactive notebooks for students, and that's definitely a good option, but I think Jamboard has some advantages over Slides, and in this video, I'll show you why. You can show your support for the work that I do on this channel by sharing this video with other teachers and also hitting the like button. And if you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, you'll also get pinged about upcoming live shows, which I host every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as newly released videos about teaching with technology. So join our growing global community of 21st century educators and be sure to ask in the comments if you have any questions. Okay, first let's jump over here to a digital interactive notebook in Google Jamboard so you can see what they look like, as well as why you might want to make one. You'll notice that this Jamboard has different pages for the different sections of the notebook, similar to having different slides in Google Slides. What I like about Jamboard, and the reason I think it's an even better option for digital interactive notebooks, is the fact that both you and your students can interact anywhere on the board. It's a much more open canvas for interacting than Google Slides. You can see here, for example, that students can use the draw tool to use the digital pencil anywhere on the page, or with the text tool, they could just click and add text wherever they want it to go. Then, after students respond, you can easily jump in and add quick feedback by using the sticky note tool, and students can easily show that they got your feedback and make revisions if necessary. Note, however, that currently you can only add 20 frames to a single jam at once. So if you plan to create notebooks that are longer than that, you'd have to create separate notebooks or use Slides instead. All right, now that we've gotten an idea of what a digital interactive notebook in Jamboard would look like, let me show you how to set one up from the beginning. First, I'm going to head over to Slides Mania to get a notebook template that I'll be using in Jamboard. Although the templates are labeled Google Slides and PowerPoint templates, you can also easily upload them as Jamboard backgrounds. To find notebook templates, I'll go up to the Education tab and then select Notebook Style from the drop-down menu. There, you'll see several different notebook style slides that you can download for free. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this mini journal notebook. After you click on a presentation, to download it, just click Download PowerPoint or Open in Google Slides. I'll choose Google Slides here, click Use Template, and then I'll have access to this template to use as needed. Before adding this template as a Jamboard background, you'll want to make sure to make whatever changes you plan to make to your notebook on these slides, since you won't be able to make those edits once it's in Jamboard as a background. For example, I'll edit this first slide so that students have space to add their own names for their journals. Then, on the next slide, I'll edit the generic text so that it's customized to whatever I want students to input in their notebooks. I'm going to set this notebook up for students to record their responses to prompts about a book they are reading. And so for this first slide, I'm going to set up some general instructions for students about how to complete their notebooks. After I've edited the title, I'll write a brief description about the purpose of the notebook, and then I'll have students post an image of their books, as well as write the title of the book. And since I don't need these icons, I'll go ahead and delete them. Then, on the right-hand side, I'll change the to-do list to be a checklist that reminds students what they need to do every time they complete a journal entry. For example, I might tell students that every page needs to include the pages they read and their answer to the prompt, and that they need to be sure to proofread their responses as well as review teacher feedback and try the extension activity. Then, on the following pages, I'll start to set up some prompts. One option would be to set up all your prompts ahead of time and assign them all at once. But I also want to show you how you can have students add new pages to their Jamboard after they've been assigned. So for this example, I'm going to show you how to create a couple of prompts to start and then add new pages to the Jamboard later. On this first page, I'll change the text so that it asks students to analyze the cover of the book. Then I'll take off the boxes that say add your text here by clicking on them and clicking delete. Next, I'll set up the next day's prompt to be about main characters in the book. In the first box, they'll draw the main character, and then they'll describe the main character, as well as include a quote about them. So you can see the general idea here is that I'm editing the slides template before bringing it into Jamboard so that it includes the information I want students to write about before I add these as backgrounds in Jamboard. Now that I've set up these slides to look the way that I want them to look for their digital interactive notebooks, let's look at how to add them to Jamboard as backgrounds, as well as how to assign copies of Jamboards to students so that they can actually write on them. If you don't plan on giving all the prompts to students at once and instead plan to drip out prompts to students along the way, what you'll want to do here is create a teacher copy of the slides as well as a student copy. This version is going to be my teacher copy, so I'll change the title of the document to Digital Interactive Notebook Master Copy. This is the version I'll add new prompts to first, and can then keep as a completed version of my notebook to reuse year after I'm done building it. Next, I'll copy this document to create a student-facing version. First, I'll select only the slides I just created because I don't want students to see all these unfinished ones. And then I'll go up to File, click Make a Copy, and choose Selected Slides. Then I'll change the name of this new document so that rather than Master Copy, it's called Student Copy. I'll click OK, and then I'll have two separate slide decks, one master copy and one student-facing copy. And I'll show you why this is important in just a moment. Okay, now that I've set up my notebook and slides, I'm going to need to download them as image files in order to add them as backgrounds in Jamboard. To do that, go back up to File, scroll down to Download, and then choose either a JPEG file or a PNG file. Repeat this step until you've downloaded all the slides as image files. I like to make sure everything is nice and organized, so I suggest that you create a folder so that you can keep all of your images in a single folder and easily find it later. I'll do this by finding the files I just downloaded, highlighting all of them, right-clicking, and selecting New Folder with Selection. That will create a new folder that I'll rename Digital Interactive Notebooks. Now that I have all of my images in one neatly organized file, it's time to bring them into Google Jamboard as backgrounds. I'll go to jamboard.google.com and then click on the orange Add button to create a new jam. In order to add the images I just downloaded as a background in Jamboard, I'll go up to Set Background and then choose Image. One option would be to find that image on your computer or in your Drive folder, but since I just created a folder with all the images, I can also just drag and drop them in, and you'll see that they'll automatically show up as a background when I do so. Then to add another frame, I'll click the next arrow and repeat the process of setting a new background, choosing Image, and dragging and dropping the next slide image in. Remember that you'll only be able to add 20 of these frames in a single Jamboard. Once you've set up this Google Jamboard with all your notebook slides as backgrounds, you'll want to assign it to students. If you're a Google Classroom user, your best bet will be to head over to Google Classroom, where you'll want to assign this Jamboard as an individual copy for each student. To do this, go up to the Create button and go down to Assignment. And I'm going to be sure to label this assignment Student Copy. You'll see why in a moment. After I've written instructions, I'll go down to Add, and I'll find the Jamboard I just created in Google Drive under Recents and click Insert. Then I'll click on the drop-down menu and select Make a Copy for each student. Notice that for this assignment, I'm not assigning it to a topic. Let me show you why. After I've clicked Assign, you'll see that the Digital Interactive Notebook is now at the very top of the classwork page, and that it isn't categorized under a topic. I wouldn't recommend doing this often, but for assignments like this one that you want students to be able to access over and over again over an extended period of time, it's the best way to pin the assignment to the top of your Google Classroom. Once students start completing their Jamboard notebooks, you'll be able to see their work by clicking View Assignment, selecting a student's notebook you want to review, and then clicking Open with Google Jamboard. Then you'll be able to see the work that students have added And you'll also be able to easily provide them with feedback by using tools like the sticky note tool. For example, you could leave students a sticky note explaining something they did well, as well as something that they could improve on. Then, you could set up a system where students have to use the draw tool to put a check next to your feedback to show that they read it, and then respond by adding additional information if you ask them to. Now let's look at how you can continue to add new pages to a student's Jamboard notebook, even though you've already pushed out a copy through Google Classroom. My recommendation is that you always build new pages using your master teacher copy. That way, once you've created your notebook once, you'll be able to reuse all the pages over and over again in years to come. But since you have the student version, you'll also be able to drip out new pages at your own pace. Once you've added a new page to the master copy, you'll want to copy and paste it over to the student's slide copy you already set up. Then, what you're going to need to do is go back to Google Classroom so that you can post these slides for students and then they can add them themselves to their Jamboards. When creating this assignment, title it something like Background Images for Digital Interactive Notebooks. Bring the slides in from your Google Drive folder, and this time, leave the settings the way that they are so that students can only view the document. Just like we did with Google Jamboard, leave this assignment with no topic so that it sits at the top of Google Classroom. In order for students to bring in the new notebook backgrounds to Jamboard, you'll need to teach them how to download the image and add it as a Jamboard background. Here, they'll just repeat the same process you went through to add images to the initial Jamboard you set up. So have students go to Google Classroom, click on the Background Images assignment, and open up the slides, which you'll notice have been shared as view only. Show them how to download the slide as an image by going up to File, Download, Image. Then have students return to Jamboard, click on the right arrow to add a new frame or page, click Set Background, and then select Image. Students can either drag files in like I showed earlier, or they can find the image they downloaded on their computers and bring it in that way. Now, every time you add a new notebook page to your master slides, copy and paste it over to the student version. As soon as you do that, the new page you just added will show up on the view-only slide deck you posted to Google Classroom, and students will be able to repeat the process of downloading the image from the slides and then uploading it to Jamboard to add a new page to their notebooks. Of course, rather than giving students pages one by one, you might want to give them a week's set of pages at a time. And of course, if you also wanted to just give them all the notebook pages at once, that would be an option. If you do end up teaching students how to download images and bring them into Jamboard as a background, you'll also be organically embedding foundational technology skill development. And although it might take students a couple of tries to get the hang of it, eventually they'll be able to do it without any problems. And remember that since you're also the owner of the Jamboard, you could also add the new page to the student's Jamboard if they were having trouble doing it themselves. If you have any questions about setting up digital interactive notebooks in Google Jamboard or ideas about how to use it, please ask or comment below. Thanks so much for watching my video to the end. If you're interested in learning all about how to use instructional technology to increase student engagement, personalize instruction, provide authentic learning experiences, improve communication with families, optimize your organization systems, and so much more, then check out my online course, The 21st Century Classroom. In the video description, you'll find a link to 21centuryclass.com where you can learn more about the course as well as sign up for the latest enrollment updates. In the video description, you'll also find the link to my website where you can find additional resources for teaching with technology, as well as links to my social media accounts on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok, where I post 60-second quick tips about teaching with technology. Thanks again for watching and have a great week.